Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Amritpal Singh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, India says security situation in Canada is deteriorating, accuses the Canadian media of running a disinformation campaign against India. Prime Minister Modi launches multiple development projects at Prayagraj, inspects development works for Mahakumbh Mela 2025. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Turkey, stresses the need to keep Islamic State contained in Syria. Russia launches huge missile attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Dozens of cruise missiles fired on Ukrainian power grid. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the city of Prayagraj in northern state of Uttar Pradesh, where he launched multiple development projects worth 5,500 crore rupees for Mahakumbh 2025. The projects launched include various rail and road works like 10 new road over bridges or flyovers, permanent ghats and riverfront roads to boost infrastructure and provide seamless connectivity in Prayagraj. Prime Minister also inaugurated the projects for River Ganga that aim to ensure zero discharge of untreated water into the river. Various infrastructure projects related to drinking water and power also have been inaugurated. Major temple corridors were also inaugurated by the Prime Minister for ease of access to devotees with an aim to boost spiritual tourism in the region. The Prime Minister launched the Kumbh Sahayak chatbot which will provide details to give guidance and updates on the events of Mahakumbh.
महाकुंभ हजारों वर्ष पहले से चली आ रही हमारे देश की सांस्कृतिक आध्यात्मिक यात्रा का पुण्य और जीवंत प्रतीक है। यहां आकर संत महंत ऋषि मुनि ज्ञानी विद्वान सामान्य मानवी सब एक हो जाते हैं। यहां जातियों का भेद खत्म हो जाता है, संप्रदायों का टकराव मिट जाता है। करोड़ों लोग एक थे, एक विचार से जुड़ जाते हैं। और इसलिए मैं फिर एक बार कहता हूं, ये महाकुंभ एकता का महायज्ञ है।
Upon his arrival in Prayagraj, Prime Minister Modi was greeted by saints at the Sangam, where he performed a religious prayer. He was accompanied by the Chief Minister of the state, Yogi Adityanath. Sangam is a confluence of the Ganges, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers in Prayagraj. Following the prayer at Sangam, Prime Minister also offered prayers at the sacred tree in the Hindu temple Akshavat. Along with Chief Minister of the state, the Deputy Chief Ministers and the state governors, the Prime Minister prayed at the tree. Then he offered prayers at Prayagraj's Lete Hanuman temple, where he was briefed about the temple alongside its model. Prime Minister Modi then visited the Mahakumbh exhibition site and walked around the display area. Indians in Canada have been advised by the government to exercise caution given the deteriorating security situation there. In a press briefing, the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs informed that 3 Indian students were killed in Canada recently and there are over 4 lakh Indian students in Canada. He added that Canadian media is running a disinformation campaign against India on the issues of visa.
3 Indian students have been murdered in violent crimes. We are deeply saddened by these terrible tragedies that have struck our nationals in Canada. We extend our deepest condolences to the families, grieving families. Our High Commission in Ottawa and our consulates in Vancouver and Toronto, they are in touch with the families. They are also pushing very hard with following up with the local authorities for thorough investigation in the matter. We have also issued advisory for our nationals and our students to exercise extreme caution and remain vigilant in view of the deteriorating security environment in Canada as a result of the growing incidence of hate crimes and criminal violence.
Ranveer Jaiswal also shared an update on the Foreign Secretary's recent visit to Bangladesh, on which he said that India conveyed its support for democratic and inclusive Bangladesh. He said that Misri raised the issue of attacks on minorities there.
Regarding Foreign Secretary's visit, I'd like to highlight that he went there on 9th of December. He had Foreign Office consultations. He also met the Chief Advisor and thereafter the Foreign Affairs Advisor of Bangladesh. Foreign Secretary highlighted during his talks India's support for a democratic, stable, peaceful, progressive and inclusive Bangladesh. He also reiterated India's willingness to build a positive and constructive relationship with Bangladesh based on mutual trust and respect and mutual sensitivity to each other's concerns and interests.
And the spokesperson on the recent evacuation operation from Syria of the Indians said that Indian embassies in Syria and Lebanon worked closely for evacuation of 77 Indians from Syria. He added that the Indian embassy is in close touch with the Indians who still chose to live in Syria.
So far, 77 Indians have been evacuated. These were those who wanted to return. In addition, there are several other Indians who are settled there, married there, or are pursuing some vocation. They still continue to be in Syria. If they tomorrow wish to return, we will give them a helping hand as well.
And the spokesperson also informed about the Sri Lankan President Anura Dissanayaka's India visit.
President of Sri Lanka, His Excellency Mr. Anura Kumara Dissanayaka, will visit India on a state visit on 15 to 17 December 2024. This will be the first visit of President Dissanayaka to India after the recently concluded presidential and parliamentary elections in Sri Lanka. During the visit, President of Sri Lanka will meet Rashtrapati Ji and also hold discussions with Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi on bilateral, regional and international issues of mutual interest.
The 15th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting was held in New Delhi today, and it was co-chaired by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and UAE's Deputy Prime Minister, who is also their Foreign Minister, Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. In his opening remarks, Dr. Jaishankar said that the strategic partnership between the two countries is a model of a relationship, adding that the frequency of meetings between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the ruler Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan have created confidence amongst the leaders and put the bilateral relations on a strong footing. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar said that as a result, the trade between the two countries is all set to achieve the non-oil trade target of $100 billion US.
Our bilateral economic and commercial ties are not only very strong, but increasingly diversified and deep. Since the entry into force of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, CEPA, in May 2022, our trade has steadily grown and it has now reached a level of $85 billion. The success of CEPA has spurred new initiatives like the Bharat Mart, the Virtual Trade Corridor, the Maitri interface, all of which will provide a further fillip to our trade and help us achieve the non-oil trade target of $100 billion in the coming years.
Lok Sabha, or the lower house of the Indian Parliament, began its two-day special debate on the Constitution to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the adoption of India's Constitution. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh commenced the debate in the Lok Sabha. Addressing the parliamentarians, the minister accused that there has been an attempt by a particular party to hijack the work of constitution making. The minister also said that the BJP holds utmost respect for the constitution, unlike the opposition, which carries it just in their pockets.
कांग्रेस के मित्रों ने अनेक मौके पर संविधान और संवैधानिक भावनाओं का निरादर किया है। कांग्रेस पार्टी ने हमेशा संविधान को राजनीतिक हित साधने का एक माध्यम बनाया है और उसकी मूल भावना को तहस-नहस करने का कांग्रेस ने काम किया है। विपक्ष के कई नेता संविधान की प्रति अपनी जेब में रखकर घूमते हैं। असल में उन्होंने बचपन से ही यही सीखा है। उन्होंने पीढ़ियों से अपने परिवार में संविधान को जेब में ही रखे थे। लेकिन अध्यक्ष महोदय, भारतीय जनता पार्टी संविधान को सिर माथे पर लगाती है।
The debate marks a pivotal moment for the ongoing winter session of Parliament, where the Constitution has emerged as a focal point of contention between the government and the opposition. The debate will reflect on the significance and evolution of the Constitution since its adoption on November 26, 1949. It has been a long-standing demand of the opposition. The government, however, said that the party had already called for such a debate, reaffirming their commitment to constitutional values. A similar debate is slated to take place in the upper house of the Rajya Sabha on the 16th and 17th of this month. The special constitution debate will culminate with a reply by Prime Minister Modi on Saturday. Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah is slated to start the debate in the Rajya Sabha on Monday. The upper house of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha uproar continued over no confidence motion against the House chairman, and it disrupted proceedings of the House today. A fiery exchange of words was witnessed between Vice President and Chairman of the House, Jagdeep Dhankar, and Leader of the Opposition, Mallikarjun Kharge. While arguing with the Leader of Opposition, Dhankar said that he was the son of a farmer who wouldn't be cowed down by the opposition's move of accusing it of insulting the Constitution. The House was later adjourned for the day.
Constitution is very clear. It will come up as indicated by the Constitution. It's a campaign not against me. It's a campaign against category to which I belong. I will stand by my oath. I appeal to you, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Kharge ji. I appeal to you in the name of Constitution for a change. Come with an open mind. Have dialogue with me in my chamber. Leader of the House is also requested. If you come to my chamber, we will work in togetherness. We will try to break the lockdown.
India remembers its martyrs who sacrificed their lives while defending the Parliament House from a dastardly terror attack on this day in 2001. President Draupadi Murmu paid tributes to the bravehearts, saying, and I quote, "I pay my humble tribute to the bravehearts who sacrificed their lives defending our Parliament on this day in 2001. Their courage and selfless service continues to inspire us. The nation remains deeply grateful to them and their families. On this day, I reiterate India's unwavering resolve to combat terrorism. Our nation stands united against the forces of terror." Unquote. And our tributes were paid to the victims of the attacks in the Parliament premises today, where Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other political leaders and ministers paid floral tributes to our fallen Jawans. The hardware edition of Smart India Hackathon is going on across the country. Student teams are working on various problem statements The hackathon will continue till the 15th of December. Teams from various states of the country are participating in the hackathon at the IES University in Bhopal. That's the capital of India's central state of Madhya Pradesh. DD India correspondent Aditya Srivastav spoke with the participating student teams.
Hardware version of Smart India Hackathon is continuously going on in all over the country. We are at Bhopal. You can see behind me there are lot of students team who are working on a problem statements which they get in this hackathon. So you are from?
We are from Tamil Nadu.
Tamil Nadu. So what is your problem statement?
So to efficiently manage irrigation for agriculture, in day-to-day life about 70% of the irrigation field are wasted. That constitutes to lakhs of liters of water. By our project we can efficiently manage that. Actually it also reduces the cost for periodically monitoring and the efforts made by the farmer to irrigate the land. So in this way they can even efficiently and conveniently monitor the soil moisture and many other parameters related to irrigation through the app itself.
What is your problem statement?
Our problem statement is smart irrigation system for precision farming. We focus to increase the crop yielding and then to detect the humidity and temperature of the surrounding environment, so we can easily control the water content in our land. If the water content is increased or there is overflow, the motor will be automatically off.
What is your problem statement?
MBRT test using AI interface sensors. There are 4 types of sensors using in the milk. We get spoiled in 2 to 8 hours, and we reduce the time of milk production or spoil, and we get to reduce the time of the 2 to 3 hours or 1 to 2 hours. That's it.
So students from Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, there are a lot of student team are here. They are working on a problem statement in a Smart India Hackathon. We can say this Smart India Hackathon is will helpful for not only the youth, but it will helpful for developed India. With camera person Gaurav Nirudkar, Aditya Srivastav, DD India, Bhopal.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. In South Korea, lawmakers submit a second impeachment motion against President Yoon Suk Yeol in the parliament. Kremlin praises Donald Trump's criticism of Ukrainian strikes with US missiles deep into Russian territory.
So we begin our journey exploring the factories where cricket gear is made, uncovering the process that has made Meerut famous worldwide.
Meerut was one area which was allocated for sports industry.
They have done very well, they are making a cricket bat, cricket ball, RB pads, leather goods.
All around the world, they get their bats made in India. So you can imagine the kind of work they put in, and it's not an easy job.
There is a lot of hard work, a lot of craftsmanship, a lot of precision that goes inside the product.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Amritpal Singh. French President Emmanuel Macron on Friday named centrist leader François Bayrou as his new prime minister, handling him the task of hauling France out of months of political crisis. Bayrou was appointed 9 days after Michel Barnier's government was ousted by Parliament in a historic no-confidence vote. The announcement was made after Macron received Bayrou for nearly 2 hours of talks on Friday. Syrian refugees crossing over from Lebanon to return home following the toppling of the government of former President Bashar al-Assad by opposition forces. The refugees, many of whom have spent years in exile, have thronged the Masna border, crossing on the Lebanon-Syria border. Those leaving Lebanon only need a stamp from the Lebanese General Security to cross into Syria. With Syrian border posts standing unmanned, however, severe congestion at the Lebanese General Security Center allowed Syrians from entering, slowed the Syrians from entering Lebanon. Meanwhile, Lebanese border guards were tightening restrictions for those entering Lebanon while facilitating departures from Lebanon. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan discussed on Friday the need for continued efforts to counter any resurgence of the Islamic State in Syria following the fall of the Bashar al-Assad government. The talks also focused on critical aspect of establishing stability in Syria, clashes in north of the country between US-backed Kurdish forces and Turkish-backed rebels. Both leaders also discussed the imperative of continuing the efforts to keep ISIS down.
Institutions of the state and delivers services to the people. One that deals with any chemical weapons it may find to secure them and appropriately destroy them. One that rejects any alliances with extremist groups. And, of course, one that does not pose any kind of threat to any of Syria's neighbors.
Both leaders also discussed the imperative of continuing the efforts to keep ISIS down.
We also discussed the imperative of continuing the efforts to keep ISIS down. Our countries worked very hard and gave a lot over many years to ensure the elimination of the territorial caliphate of ISIS, to ensure that that threat doesn't rear its head again, and it's imperative that we keep at those efforts.
We discussed what kind of roles both US and Turkey and regional actors need to play and what kind of cooperation that we need to be in, especially finding stability in Syria, not letting terrorism to settle and avoiding PKK and IS to be dominant. We discussed what can be done about those issues, what are our common worries and solutions regarding those worries.
NATO head Mark Rutte has warned the US-led transatlantic alliance on Thursday that it was not ready for the threats it would face from Russia in the coming years and called for a shift to a wartime mindset with much higher defense spending. Rutte said that NATO members had spent more than 3% of the GDP on defense during Cold War, and future spending would have to be much higher than the current alliance target of 2%.
We are not ready for what is coming our way in 4 to 5 years. Danger is moving towards us at full speed. We can prevent the next big war on NATO territory and preserve our way of life. This requires us all to be faster and fiercer. It is time to shift to a wartime mindset and turbocharge our defense production and defense spending.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump has already said that it will not support the NATO anymore, while dangling the idea that the United States could withdraw from NATO after he takes office next month. The Kremlin on Friday praised the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's criticism of Ukrainian strikes with U.S. missiles deep into Russian territory and said that the position was fully in line with Moscow's own position. Trump had criticized Ukraine's use of U.S.-supplied missiles for attacks deep into the Russian territory in a Time magazine interview published on Thursday, comments that suggest that he could alter the U.S. policy towards Ukraine.
Trump's statement itself completely coincides with our position. So in this case, we share the same vision of the causes of escalation, of course. It appeals to us.
Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that Russia launched major missile and drone attacks on Ukraine. He said that Russia launched 93 missiles and nearly 200 drones in one of its largest attacks on the Ukrainian energy system. Zelensky said that Ukrainian air defenses managed to shoot down 81 Russian missiles, including 11 missiles that were downed by F-16 fighter jets. Kiev residents took shelter in metro stations in the Ukrainian capital. The Russian Defense Ministry said that the attacks on Ukrainian energy infrastructure are in retaliation for Kiev's use of US-supplied attack missiles. Shifting focus to the South Korean political crisis now. Lawmakers formally submitted a second impeachment motion against President Yoon Suk-yeol in the South Korean parliament on Friday. The opposition parties that control the single-chamber parliament will hold the second impeachment vote on Saturday. They need at least 8 members of the ruling People's Party to pass the bill with 2/3 majority required. And a second motion was introduced after the first attempted to unseat and remove Yoon from office failed a week ago. Well, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has recently launched its OTT platform Waves. It provides a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audience. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. And that's all in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. The app is available both on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code you see on your screens to download. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Amritpal Singh from our entire team here in Delhi. Thank you for watching DD India Live.